We're a global asset manager. We're focused in one particular area, which is environmental sustainability and resource efficiency. The firm was founded in 2009, so 8 years old now. And the founders in the audience today, you'll see Ivan Ween, Paul Chadwick, Tim Ryan. These are people who are well known in the Australian community and also overseas, bringing between them 90 years worth of investment experience, so 30 years each. I think to give you a bit of context on what we do, we manage two funds. We have a Global Alpha Fund, which is a long-short market neutral fund, which is Cayman's registered. And we have a New World Fund, which is a long-only, traditional, if you like, global equity portfolio, which is the focus of our discussion today in terms of its portfolio reference. But clearly today we're going to be talking about the broader concept of sustainability, where we see sustainability fit in, and also what the relevance of that is for the fund and indeed for the way that we pick industries and or pick stocks and get our portfolio operating the way that we like.
So what is this sustainability revolution? It's a term that I first heard only very recently to describe the next major phase of development in the global economy. In the 17th and 18th centuries, we had the agricultural revolution, which saw the adoption of intensive and mechanised farming that greatly improved agricultural productivity. We had the Industrial Revolution in the 18th and 19th centuries that saw steam power and electrical power and mechanisation of industry replacing manual labour. And more recently, in the latter half of the 20th century, we've had the Digital Revolution, which saw digital technology replace analogue technology on a widespread basis. The sustainability revolution of the 21st century is going to see a very significant shift across the entire global economy towards sustainable technologies and practices. It's already begun, and what gives us confidence that it's going to continue is that it's being driven not by government policy or consumer behaviour, although those things are very important. It's being driven by the improving economics of sustainable technologies, which are increasingly surpassing and supplanting traditional technology. The sustainability revolution, as we think of it, includes many independent, recognisable transitions, in the same way that the Industrial Revolution covered electrification, mechanisation, and so on. The sustainability revolution includes things like renewable energy, like autonomous driving, like the industrial Internet of Things. In many ways, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. The current global economy, the current global economic model is unsustainable, and one way or another things have to change. How and when that happens will be influenced by a great range of different factors, including government policy. But most of that change is actually going to happen simply because the economics of sustainable technologies are going to be better than existing technologies. And we are already at the point of no return. And the solar story doesn't stop there, and I wanted to just take the opportunity to highlight why companies are continuing to invest in that technology and why people like us who are so close to what's going on in that industry believe very strongly that we're headed to a world where very large amounts of global power supply are going to be from solar energy supported with storage. I think the more profound observation is actually the one on the right, which is similar analysis for Germany, but it's considering not new build capacity, but existing generating capacity. So these are existing coal-fired or gas-fired power plants versus new build wind and solar. And this says that by 2030, it's going to be cheaper to build new solar generation than it is to run existing coal-fired power plants in Germany, which, as you know, isn't the sunniest place in the world.
The last company I'm going to talk about is Hexcel. So Hexcel make carbon fibre, and carbon fibre is a product that I think some people in the room may know from either Formula One cars or the road bikes that they ride, but primarily it's used to make aircraft. But it's a totally different manufacturing technology, right? So normally you just got panels, you got rivets, you got guys with drills drilling the rivets in, whereas in this case, as I mentioned, it's a very different process in terms of you take the fibers, you weave them, you heat treat them, cover them with various resins, and then you bake them. And the result is a very strong product. To illustrate a little bit how this technology has come in, so 40 years ago, technology basically didn't exist in commercial aircraft, might have been used in some military planes, and it's gone up and up, and today it's 50% by volume, 50% by weight, and even more by volume, given the low weight and low density of the material in the top of the range aircraft that are coming out today. So that was a 787. Here we've got a picture of an A350, which is the latest and greatest plane that Airbus has got at 53% composites. And this chart on the right shows the black is carbon fiber. So basically almost all the airframe. And so quickly, how does Hexcel fit into it? They have essentially spread their fingers into virtually the entire airframe. So this chart on the left just shows just about every different part of the airframe, Hexcel somewhere on there. So lastly, I just talk about carbon fiber. This is a BMW i3. So carbon fiber has been in Formula One cars for more than 30 years, but this is a car that you can buy today in Australia for about $65,000. And it's got about 150 kilos of carbon fiber on it, which replaced almost half a ton of steel. Those are my estimates from the little bit that BMW has actually released. So why is that important? Well, aircraft production is about 1,500 planes per year, and automotive production is 80 million cars per year. So the market is just enormous. And if every car had as much carbon fiber on it as this BMW i3, the market size would grow up 100 times. So not 100%, 100 times, so 10,000%. And that is not happening today, but we think it's pretty likely that over 10, 15 years, maybe even 20, it will. And there's a number of reasons for that. The carbon fiber industry is obviously working very hard to improve their competitiveness, but a big one is electric vehicles. So the i3 is actually a plug-in hybrid electric vehicles. And in electric vehicles, weight is much more important. Low weight enables you to save on the battery, which reduces costs. It reduces the weight of the car, so it's like a virtuous circle. And it also enables better range and shorter charging time, which are two factors that are very important for people to adopt electric vehicle technology. So it's a pretty amazing. It's not often that you see markets which have the potential to grow 100 times. And so it's a pretty exciting sort of growth opportunity.
Our portfolio sector allocations, we basically spread the portfolio across 8 core sectors. They're the sectors that we see as important. They're defined by Nanuk. Basically, a quarter of the portfolio is associated with energy efficiency. About a fifth of the portfolio is associated with clean energy. And as you can see, if you go down the list, so quite diversified. And we have a very diversified approach to the way that we think about constructing our portfolios.